SGBs, which were being withdrawn. They never even adopt any policies, but they're being withdrawn. And at the end of the day, what do you call that, HOD? HOD, lastly, I want to say to you this. There are people in your offices, close to you, and even some officials, which they are sabotaging the good cause of the Gauteng Department of Education. At the end of the day, they tell you what you want to hear, but not the reality of on the ground, whatever it's happening. And we found very much strange because when they come to the schools for intervention, you only get one side of the story. You don't get the side of the story of the school governing body with their concern and their issues. Thank you very much, HOD. Please look at those things. Thank you.
Losen. Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson, Ntate HOD. My concern is, one, I think the department undermines the SGBs, especially the parents component. Why am I saying this? All the speakers that have spoke before me, naibontsha hore there is an element of undermining the parents. When your district's honorable chairperson give us the notices, we just see the notices, but the notices, whom did you engage with? We don't know. It's like we're being dictated. This is what you should, how you should run. But we are the SGBs. So I will advise if Lintadi the notice, invite the stakeholders so that you can brainstorm. I once engaged with one of the district director about the issue of taking your teachers for training. If you look at most of the teachers, they don't have what we call classroom management. They can't control the kids. You'll find kids fight inside the class, do wrong things inside the class, in their presence. And we expect to call somebody who is at home, who is the SGB, to come and intervene. Where else we do have the teachers that are responsible for that. So it's a very serious concern. I think that it's very urgent, HOD. It's a very urgent matter that needs your intervention. The issue of water and electricity, it's been going on and on and on, and we got a communique to say we have sent some funds to schools. But even till today, kids, they don't have electricity, they don't have water, but we expect the kids to pass. We want that pass rate to escalate, to go up. Where else we don't have resources. HOD, we've got some schools in Pretoria East. They've been placed under administration for more than 2 years. I don't know if the rule of law agrees that, but from what I've read, it doesn't. It's MJ Mgidi and Sintibeli. Why am I saying this? It's because of the service delivery is very poor. Even the SGB, they can't function. They can't function because each and everything that they want to do, they have to ask from the district, and they will drag to answer on those issues. So please, if you can intervene on that one as well, we will be happy on that regard. Lastly, is the issue of safety and security. Thank you very much for bringing security in our schools. Even though some of our schools, you stop them. The reason why I'm bringing this before you is because before we had the security, we had a lot of burglaries. But after your intervention, it stopped. But again, those burglaries are coming back because the security has stopped. And one other thing is that we've been having complaints from the securities that were never been paid for more than 6 months. But today you presented the budget before us. Where is the money going instead of working for the right things? Thank you very much.
Good evening, governors. My name is Kenneth Nkanyane. Batswadi let's ne kopela eng. Re ska fella na pelo. Ake re tlile mo for a sole purpose, an African child. Again. So now, tsaka for the sake of time, get lodi submita dili 6 ne. I have 6 concerns ne. Yes. Number 1 ne. Strictly for primary schools ne. There is this thing that is going on in primary schools. And I believe today, let it be heard because I've been singing the same thing. I don't know what is the purpose of having legislative meetings if whatever we are saying here is not implemented. When we try to raise our concerns, SAPS, these people that are closing the school gates and whatnot, I don't know if it's a mechanism that is used in order to make or to keep parents quiet. Ne? Number 1, primary school learners are being failed by the Department of Education. For peace sake, ne? I'm not going to be harsh, ne? But there is this thing, I don't know if it's a law that is enforced on educators, that learners are not supposed to fail. Ne? Me, as a parent, I'll be proud if my child fails. You know why? Because the merit he or she would have got would be original. But now in primary schools, whenever the school underperforms, it becomes a major concern to the department that no, this school is underperforming. You attack the principal, you attack the school. But now that leads to educators being forced to give our learners answers during exam for the sake of submitting the statistics to the department that this school is not underperforming. That is fraud. Can we please fix that thing for my sake as a parent? There is a mechanism that you guys are enforcing at primary schools that the schools are not supposed to underperform. It's okay for our learners to fail. They will pass next time. Stop defrauding our learners or depriving them of their original education. That is number 1. Number 2, ne? Everything that I'm saying here, ne? I have proof of everything. We have an issue when it comes to recruitment or enrollment in the schools. Ne? I'm not against foreigners. Ne? Don't mislead me. Ne? Or don't misconstrue me. I'm not against any foreign national. But now a South African child when they're supposed to go to school, maybe without a certificate, maybe the mother has gone or went wherever with foreign nationals, they took the documents for the kids. You can't enroll a South African child. But a foreign child with no ID, with just a report from station, they get enrolled. So easy. But it's not easy for a South African child to get enrolled. You came up with a mechanism for grade 1 and grade 8. That mechanism only applies to South African children. But when a child has problems in their families, maybe they don't have documents, the mother left with the documents, the child cannot go to school. But a child from Nigeria or wherever, free pass, they enroll them. Please fix that thing, Leon. Number 3, our schools currently, you were speaking about the budget. I'm glad they've touched it. Ne? There is no money, there is no allocation, there is no material, but you expect teaching and learning to go through. I remember in every workshop we attend, an emergency, it's something that disturbs the teaching and learning of a child. But there are several schools. In Jugulane, where I stay in Jugulane, Soshanguve. There are several schools that are disadvantaged. There are no resources. There's no money. There's no resources. It's just, it's bad. Sorry. Oh, the 5th one. Eh? You switched the services from the department to the schools. It was said here, please, it's a concern. It's a major issue. Yeah, and no, I can submit it as it is. It's fine. Thank you.
Ngithokoze ngilochise wonke umuntu la eholweni nama officials we Gauteng North led by ubaba uKosi nani ngapha etafuleni. Number 1, okay, igama lami nguNkagiso kaPopela, ngibuya eTshwane Region 7 School Vendors Association. Number 1 from my side, May Chairperson and the MEC. Ntate Chilwane ke hopela li createle PL1 and PL2 teachers overtime ya di Saturday. Because ija go di khwameng tja batswadi ka di Saturday ba transport a ke rena ka di 100 rand is tantamount to paying the school fees, Chairperson. So if every year na re ntsha di 100 rand, di 200 rand, and bana ba rena ba kry stationary if ba sa ntsha dilo tšeo, then that means you are paying school fees indirectly. Then those 100 rands, the SGB di berekisa go transporta ma teacher ka di weekend. For that reason, creating overtime for the Saturday, especially for the PL1 and the PL2, because lena hona mo redimo mo le gola triples times what a PL1 teacher got paid, and some of you doesn't even have post-matric qualifications. These people have got degrees, they are qualified, you pay them peanuts, in results gulimala thina bazali. So create overtime for them. It's a demand, Mr. MEC. And these teachers, because they are getting paid peanuts, they also compromise us as school vendors, because labantu la abu teacher basuke bathengise lapha esikolweni, because they want to patcha somewhere emasalarini wabo. Thina siyothengisa phi if abu teacher bayasebenza baphinde bathengise? And it's reasonable because they are getting paid peanuts while you are living lavish lives lena le iketlile a le tswile sekolong ba tswa sekolong ala ba patele. So ya re compromise. Number 2 is a question. Kanti why le khathile 60% of budget ya di services tja dikolo? I want you to explain that today. Or why le khathile 60%? yeah, those services budget, yeah, dikolo, because this services budget includes the transportation tsa di teacher ka weekend go tla sekolong go tla go ruta bana ba rena ba di matriculants gore ba kgone go tswela pele ka bophelo. So lena le tšea tšhelete la re tsebe le iša kae. I want you to explain that today. Issue ya infrastructure, say they have spoken about it a lot. Mara, you must know we need brick and mortar classes. We highly need, because in a school where I studied my matric, only the mobile classes J19, they overloaded. And you come here, you tell us where you are building schools, and we don't see anything. You have introduced something called self-built classrooms. Mara, are effective, because in the school which I'm speaking about, only 19 mobile classes. Last year, you given them only 5 classrooms. 5. And this year, you given them 3 classrooms. Roy cover running 19 years because the community is growing. That school was built somewhere in 1999 when the community was still smaller, and today is 5-6 times that population. So renyaka dikolo ba khalabele ba khekolo. Ara tla o bapala mo. Issue ya di school vendors. I feel like Mr. MEC and the office of HOD, you are being unfair to us. Because you say we must bring the certificate of acceptability as part of the requirements for us to sell within the premises of the school. But when you go to the municipality to look for that, they will tell you about the rezoning certificate. I mean, how can you rezone your own place, your residential place, because of you selling sweets at the school? The Zimba lema sweetie fella, or certificate of acceptability. No, maybe you should collide with the municipalities and tell them to give these things for free. Because here in the city of Tshwane, certificate of acceptability for a school vendor is 1,008 rand. And that amount is a profit of the whole 2 terms. June, and from January until June, about 1,008 rand for 6 months. Not even 6 months, because schooling days are 5. And then January, 15 or 12. March, 20 or 18. April, at all. June, since the beginning of June, in the high schools, they were writing examinations, and the school vendors are not allowed. So we only sell 3.5 months, but we have to pay 1,008 rand to the municipality to please you. Paper. Like certificate of acceptability. Please, have the requirements. I mean, we have got food handlers training that we pay 577. We have to pay another 1,008 rand. No, let's be fair. You are not fair to us. And Elena, le hudishe ke batswadi ba ba rekisha di khacha le di patche le gona kwa dikolong kwa. Mara today le gana rena re rekisha because we are unemployed. We try to make a living. You want us to pay thousands before we sell sweets. Ma sweetie, li di Zimba. You are not being fair. And then the issue of online application. Now I can because I in this way. Lifaskolo a number of my grade 8 for this year. Now this year is over na 325 ya bantwana iphelele. Then the community grow. Then say apply online. Maba reach 325 abasas accept. Umntwana kabanongeka esikoleni ngoba dina benu bafunda le gibu half ton high or boys what ko di toropong tse digolo. Agree you can afford to pay. Rena re nyaka tsona tša rena tše. Banong online e ya re tshwarelela because ge ba fitla mo nambeng ye le ba beetseng yona go ra re ngwana a sana school. We must call district directors the re founele the second manager. Hey, umntwana ma kana skolo ye bakuthathe from corner to pillar o hlanga hlangane. So lento nayisebenzeli or at least niyenze ukuthi kube open. Khona lapha emikhukhwini yenu eniyibeke lapha esikoleni yama mobile class. Nisiyekele sigcwalisa abantwana bethu bakhona ukufunda. Ngoba mani limit anenza ukuthi singakhona ukufika thi abanye abantwana. Imagine umntwana mangabe ufunda distance, the nearest school maybe under 5 kilometers asim acceptanga because besekugcwele. Then the next nearest school is 10 kilometers away. Because for a community of more than 150,000 people with only 11 schools, 4 of them are high school, and then the rest is even the high school could say 3 because the other one is also S. So at least gona mo go be situation ya gore le ready the office because the tleke di a re ganyetsa kwa dikolong kwa. I'm from work, I go to school ka bo ma 3 or ka bo ma 4 ke a gopela gore ba nthushe ka registration because I gena data or because I gena di resources, I gena smartphone or I gena tšhelete o patela go internet cafe ke ya ko sekolong ke kry-a tleke a chaishitše. Then o tshwantse ke lofe mmerekong wa ka someone ko mmerekong go gola per hour ga o tsamaya ke no work no pay ke ya go registera ngwana before tleke a chaisha. Go ngwana re le dire di office somewhere ko di toropong gore ko di location gore re ye gona go registera bana bao if le sa nyaka o tswela pele ka online because re a bona gore le ka se tlogele. Lastly,
No, siyabonga baba, sinika abanye chance. You've been speaking for 10
awungenzi
minutes.
njalo chairperson.
You've been speaking for 10
Awungenzi
minutes.
njalo abanye ubayekelile 20
No,
minutes
you
la.
have been speaking for 10
You don't
minutes.
do that. You
Don't
don't do
shout
that.
at
I'm
me.
left with one submission.
Don't shout at
I'm
me.
left with one submission.
shout at
Don't
me.
do that. You don't do that,
No.
chairperson. Chairperson, you can't choose to bully me alone. People spend that
I did
15
not.
minutes
They
here.
did not. You've been
No, I'm
speaking for 10 minutes.
continuing. Another thing, there is already submission. Already serious. You come here, li chahile. Yeah, si chahile say si achaisha skat. Yeah, nizela ukso sebenzela tina. We voted for you. Today you tell me my time is over, but ubabulezimu.
Marubule
Aye,
10 minutes.
hey, chairperson, ifang dikolo security. Dikolo tsa rena kwa di a utswetšiwa kwa. Ka gobane batho ba bereki ba opta for go ya utswa ge ba utswa ba tsena le ka dikolong ba utswa di laptop tša di resources tša sekolo. So re gopela dikolo di be le security. Dikolo tshwantse be le security ke a eta ka gobane wa njaga. Re gopela FET kwa ka mo region 7 ya Tshwane a rena FET MEC. Arna FET o tshwantse re namele di bus from goseng re ya Pitori wa go nyakala kwa batho ba Pitori already ke ba bantši. So re a ba tlaleletša re gopela FET kam and attitude ya gago a ke e rate chairperson.
Thank you very much. Ngicela uku-addressa bhuti wami ne. Ngumuntu ozithobile kakhulu. Angimemezi mangikhuluma nabantu. And sishilo uma siqala umhlangano wethu ukuthi sinesicelo sokuthi sitreatane ngenhlonipho. Ngoba nathi siyabahlonipha abantu. So umuntu angathi mangabe ethole iplatform noma ngabe kuthiwa sihleli ngapha ngaphambili masingadeleleki ngoba nathi asikudeleli baba. Ngicela uqhubeke baba.
Dumelang. Thank you very much, Chairperson, for giving me this opportunity. Nka se tsie nako batswadi. Nna ke tlile ka ntho e different. E le hore ke a dumela hore batho ba bantsi mo ba e considere. Ke taba ya learner transport or scholar transport. E le hore we are providing the service in Gauteng. So ke tswa ko Gauteng Education Transport Services, which is GETS. Batswadi re teng mo rena as drivers. And ntho e nngwe ke batho e bua haholo ke gore ga re ntse re le teng re bone hore Department ya Education a re nkele godimo. In this way ya gore at least Department of Transport is trying somewhere somehow, but education at all they don't consider us. Why ke re yona e a zama? Department of Education I refer the training, I refer the skill development. Tse le hore maybe gore na re tsebe gore na re behavior jwang ha re sebetsa le bana re tshwantse ho ira jwang and everything. We are only getting lessons from Department of Transport, maybe gore na re drive jwang, speed ke se se jwang and all the stuff mara ha re tla mo di trainings or skill development a re bone gore Department ya Education ya re consider. And hape ke utlwile le bua ka taba ya protection or taba ya safety and security. Le tsebe hore safety and security le ko transportong e tshwentse hore e be teng. The way ma driver ba drivang ka teng, the way ba irang ka teng dintho, I think we also need that. I will try to be short. Okay, nna ke thomile this business ka 2007. Ka 2007, it was before the bus di ba teng. But they what's about ntho eo e nkutlwisang botlhoko ke gore di-bus he di tla di re ke le rena re ntse re le teng. And a re a consideriwa maybe gore re bitsiwe gore re tle ba utlwe gore na consultation ba tle ba ire consultation gore na re lo sebetsa jwang as stakeholders and everything. So I think batho ba rona, most of the drivers tsa rona a di na mmereko as we speak, because buses are continuing di tla ka mo ma-location a rona. So I think 70% of our members are sena mmereko because of the buses, and we are not considered totally. A le re shebile ganyana. And re bile teng before the kilometer study le di buang gore 7 kilometers or more. Ne re ntse re le teng. Ha hona le motho wa a leng teng mo a re yo mo. But on the other hand, re ntse re bua ka GGT, which is how are we going to grow Gauteng together? Iluri, we are left out. And more work local economic development. More lori, we are there. We support Banabaruna, Century. At least the chalete li fang batu ba di bus ba lori ba bangwe ba tswa ko Mpumalanga ba bangwe ba tswa ko Durban. Chalete Century existe kamo local. Ia tswa ia ko gole. So batho ba rona a bana mmereko ba tswa ke ntho e re batlo le bolela yona re na le problem. Again, utlwile le bua ka taba ya disability. Yes, nna le rona re na le bana ba le hore ba laisa ba disability. But unfortunately, dikoloi tse re tsamayang ka tsona, they are not designed specific for the kids. Re ntse re ba rwala ka hore re tshwere ke tlala. You understand? A le yo mo teng ene koloi tsela di a tura because they must be converted. O kere hore maybe quantum e tshwentse o laisa bana ba 5 or 4 only. Because o tshwentse o kena ka wheelchair, o tshwentse o kena ka eng, but we are trying. And ha re tla mo tabeng ya di-pricing, you must understand gore batho ba rona re ko di-areeng tse e le hore batho ba teng ba disadvantaged. So o kere o charge 200, 400 or 500. Actually re no sebeletsa fela hore re je, ha ona ntho re ka irang. A re bue ka business mo. I'm trying to be quick. I think lentse le bona batho ba na le di-driver vele go ntse go laisitswe di-overload and everything. Yes, it's happening. It's happening. Ho iragala. Dikoloi tsa rona ke dikhorokoro. But re na le problem ya hore it's like Department of Education e shebile fela batho ba di-bus, and a ina taba le bana ba le hore ba namela dikoloi tsa rona as independent service providers. Ba na le taba le bana ba le hore ba namela di-bus. I'm trying to be short. Lastly, ntho e nka e buang ke, no, I think I'm done. Thank you very much.
Dumelang kaofela batswadi le go ka mo tafoleng. Ke rata go le dumedisa from Tshwane West Universal School Governing Bodies Association. Concern ya rona ka mo batswadi ke the department. Gona no ba re bana ba rona tshwantse ba ithute le ka di weekends. The same thing the brother was talking about, ya SIP. They come to school. We are struggling as school governing body. We are struggling. Why? Because we must pay the teachers. The teachers, they have chelete tshwantse ba patale. They come with cars. Others, they are not paid for the extra time they are coming to school. Why? Because we need proper results at the end of the year. I get her metric rate. We want to metric rate ikupu. So tlamehile bana ba ithuta. So this SIP ke yona e limatsa skolo gape. Le budget ya skolo kaofela intsha. Why? Because only on weekend rona ko Winterfeld High we spend at least 4,500 for teachers and food. We need to buy food also for our kids. So we go to parents. Parents, re kopa di 100 rands for your kids to come and at least have a meal, a decent meal on weekend. Why? Because the provision of the school, kia school, and then it's for Monday to Friday. It's not for Saturdays and Sundays. So the parents must pop out the money, and then 100 rand doesn't make nothing. Why? Because 100 rand this week, after a month, and then the kids are not eating proper nutritious food. Why? Because we're going to buy cheap, the cheap food, so that the kids only can come to school and have the meal. So re kopa yona e ya sip, yeah, weekend can, if we are, I think almost all schools are doing it. Kaofela dikolo di batla 100% pass rate. Ko di matriculants. Now we are going to grade 11s and grade 10s. It's going there now. Why? Because we want these kids to learn. Bana ba ba kgone gore ba ska ba le time probably ya gore they can do other things. So if they come to school on Saturday, therefore something is cut, abayiko partying, so they will come to school. So if the school is not provided for a Saturday, or probably Saturday and Sunday, and the teachers also. Why? Because the teachers, they are volunteering. Not everybody will find and say, please say, can you come and teach these kids physical science? These kids are struggling. The teacher stays somewhere in Pretoria. She must come from Pretoria to Winterfell. We must pay them. If it's raining or what, we must make sure the teacher is coming to school. So that one is the most important one. The other one is when you call us, you say, guys, we are coming with something better. Because we're seeing the teenage pregnancies is going high. We come together, guys. You call us as SGPs, as parents. You call us, guys. We want a sexuality study. We went to that conference, I remember, sexuality study, and then the kids they say, no, we are trying to come up with something. No, the next year there's a book written by someone else we don't know. The sexuality study. When me myself I try to read that book, I'm like, there is no way our kids are going to read this. But they didn't come back to parents and tell parents, good, the sexuality study that we are trying to implement, here it is. But the sexuality study, it does not, ha e kenye le ngwana motho o montsho. Ha e kenye ngwana taki, The sexuality study is about a child o hlala ko disabapong or somewhere. Ha e bue ka ngwana o dulang ko mekhukhung or ko kasi. So there's other books tse ba di tlisang mo dikolong tse leng gore even our kids, they don't have an idea of what's going on there. So ke kopa gore when they bring books, when they bring us gore guys itlang re tlo buisana ka gore bana ba rona re ka ba ruta jwang. Dintho tse re ba botsang tsona gore di a etsagala ko makeišeneng a di etsagale ko di-suburbsing. O ka senke ngwana ko di-suburbong wa mo ruta sexuality study. Why? Because at home o saw rona ko kasi it doesn't, ha e sebetse jwalo. So re kopa ba re nke ba re beye mo ba re botse rona gore what's happening around ko lekeišeneng before ba nka ntho ba batle go e fa bana ba rona. Thank you, ke tla ema mo.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We have one more question online, and then we are going to take the department in responses. Sabelo, online, can you come through? Sabelo, are you going once, twice? Oh. We can hear you. Proceed. We can hear you. Please go ahead. Hlanga, siyabonga kakhulu. Colleagues, without wasting any time and understanding ukuthi kusebusuku and it's quite cold as well. I do note that some were comments, so if MEC and the team, you could respond to the areas where it is questions, and we do note the comments that have been made by a number of people that came here. MEC, we are going to now hand over to you to lead the team in terms of the responses. Thank you very much. Once, going twice, we are giving it to the HOD.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. I must indicate that MEC at one stage, as I was communicating with him on the chat, he was alerting me that his battery was a bit weak. Don't know whether he'll come back online, but I'll proceed, Chairperson, as guided. I won't be trying to answer all the questions one by one verbatim, but I just want to indicate, Chairperson, that all the inputs which are made by the stakeholders today are fully acknowledged and appreciated, given the fact that as a Department of Education in Gauteng, we are quite cognizant that we are saving the people and we want to continue saving the people the way they want to be saved. And we also are aware, Chairperson, that as a education department in the country, we are dealing with the most valuable assets of society. Your kids are in our care and we regard them as important and as fragile to ensure that we can also work with you in propelling them to be full citizens of this particular country. Therefore, all the faults and gaps and deficiencies which have been raised in this particular meeting, we acknowledge them and we commit that we will look at them. Some of them are done not intentionally so, and some of them were done not because we are closing an eye on them. You are on the ground, and being on the ground, you are our eyes and ears, and some of them, I must indicate that some of the gaps you are raising, we are hearing them for the first time. Others, we are aware of them, of course, and we've been dealing with them. Therefore, the questions, Chairperson, will be responded to. Some were comments, others were requests, which have been noted. Others were advices and guidance, which we are providing to the department. And this engagement, Chairperson, we appreciate them given the fact that they open our eyes and ears. I want to start with the first one, Chairperson, if you were to allow me, on the issue of subsidies, and it cuts across many questions raised by parents and stakeholders today. Indeed, as a Department of Education, we do have this money for this particular financial year of 68 billion for servicing your learners and your schools. And indeed, 76% of it is paying staff, and I indicated that the staff which are paid are mainly educators. And immediately once you reduce the educators, you are increasing the learner-teacher ratio in classrooms. You'll be find that a teacher is responsible for teaching more learners than is the case. Most of the budget, and always we defend the appointment of teachers, even if you were to cut staff. As the Department of Education in Gauteng, we prioritize filling of educator posts because that's where service delivery happens. This money is not about teachers earning it. They are there to take care of your learners, teach them, and ensure that they are good citizens. But on the subsidies, we pay 25% of the subsidies as we speak, vis-a-vis what we are supposed to pay, which is 50% in the first quarter. It's not because we don't have money on paper. We do have money on paper. It's an issue of the cash flow situation. We get a budget approved by legislature and given to us, but on monthly basis, we get allocations in terms of cash in the bank from Treasury. And if Treasury is not giving us a full tranche, we are unable to pay those monies. Like, for instance, this year we only paid those subsidies in May, June, and we're supposed to pay them in April because we got money in May, June. Therefore, as a Department of Education, where I'm sitting, even the MEC would have echoed the same sentiments. We are ready, prepared, willing, and eager to pay all subsidy to schools on time. The only issue is the cash in the coffers of the Department of Education, because we wait for Treasury to transfer. And I phone the HOD of Treasury every week, by the way, to ensure that we get these monies so that we can pay the schools their subsidies. It's not only subsidies. There's one speaker here who spoke about payment of security companies and other service providers. It also delays paying these service providers because of the cash which is in the bank. Money on paper we do have, but it's only about the rents and cents which needs to come into our banks. And I want, on behalf of the MEC and the Education Department, to apologize for the delays of transferring to schools on time. And we will ensure. What I'm pushing now that we should try by all means that before the end of July, at least the schools have got their full subsidies if we can. We apologize for that. The issue of the LTSM or the budget again, all the remaining budget in terms of the budget which has been allocated for us, it is covering many other aspects which we are servicing schools on, which includes scholar transport. Remember, scholar transport is equitable share. When you talk about school nutrition partly is funded by conditional grant, but the other part, especially in quintiles 4 and 5, is funded by equitable share by the department. And that all these monies get into the schools. The issue which was raised by the a gentleman who labeled himself as a grandfather here is a guidance which we are noting about OSHA Act. All the schools are expected to have health and safety committees, and we will ensure that that particular reminder is sent to schools to ensure that they can be trained and they become compliant. On the mobile classrooms, I must indicate, because it's also cutting across most of the questions. As a department, our policy and our preference is not to have mobile classrooms. Our preference is brick and mortar. But mobile schools and mobile classrooms come into the picture from two angles. One, you'll find that there are certain schools which are in areas which are not yet demarcated to become residential areas. And in those particular areas, we cannot build a brick and mortar, given the fact that once that particular area is not demarcated, it may be seen as fruitless expenditure. Secondly, mobile schools are faster. If I were to have a classroom tomorrow in a particular school, a mobile school, it's an option which we can deliver now. Unlike brick and mortar, we need to apply for SDPs, apply for tender, etc., etc. It takes time. And our position as a Department of Education is that mobile classrooms and mobile satellite schools are a temporary measure, not a permanent solution. And in schools where you say they've been there for 30 years, 10 years, it's something which we don't like, and we will definitely address without getting into the details. There was also about a question from Ntatekekan about the school, Madison Secondary, not performing. The district will look into it and ensure that we can respond fully. Performance of 49% is unacceptable in terms of where we are sitting at the Department of Education. We want all learners passing, and the issue of the principal, we need to make sure that the rights of that particular employee are protected, but where there are challenges, we'll definitely act as a Department of Education. And then NASGOP raised issue of the language, the sports Wednesdays, the particular school where there are challenges in terms of LTSM and self-build. I must say that self-build came in handy to the department, given the fact that we are giving money to these schools. Schools deliver these classrooms brick and mortar faster, but also cheaper. And it's also faster for us because we don't have to issue a tender. We just send the money to schools. And there are schools we did very well in terms of self-build, but we will ensure that we follow up and allocate
more self-built money where possible to ensure that we can alleviate overcrowding as indicated by the colleague from NASGOP. And on Sports Wednesdays, I've been reminded by my colleagues that the Sports Wednesdays target and focus was more of ECD centers. But as you know, our MEC is MEC of Sports, Recreation and Culture also. We are also encouraging schools to ensure that they have sports in their schools, but we know that some of the schools, especially the townships, don't have a feasible sports ground, and we take that as guidance and something we need to look at. Chairperson, on the issues of the AGBs and monies, etc., I want to say that AGBs have got full powers in terms of the South African Schools Act. And the Department of Education is not on a mission to dilute or to undermine the powers of the AGBs. In fact, where I'm sitting together with the MEC, we are committed to protect the rights and the powers of AGBs in schools. But where there are matters, specific matters like that raising them about Ivory Park, etc., we need to zoom in those particular cases and deal with them on a case-by-case basis. And I must say that Regiland, today you raise a very constructive points and also suggestion. And I welcome the invite to have coffee with you at any moment, at any time, given the fact that you are coming up with positive recommendation. I just want to acknowledge that SASA protects you, and we cannot pull those rights away from you. The same applies to Bella Act. It does protect you, and we want to protect that. ECD, we take note of that, and ECD is our priority area this year. If you look and even listen to our presentations, if we do well as a sector on ECD, the forthcoming 12 years will be smooth sailing, because we will have invested in our learners in pre-grade R, in grade R, and in fact, where we're going as a Department of Education in Gauteng, in the next 5-10 years, we should not have SIP. Because we will have invested in our learners at foundation level, intermediate level. When they come to FET, obviously going hand in hand with state development, we should have these learners running smoothly, and we take the money from SIP, we invest in other programs. We are spending too much money on SIP, but we have to do that because some of the learners who are in middle class families, they've got tutors. When my son is not doing well in maths, I get a tutor. But what about parents who cannot afford? Therefore, SIP is playing that tutor role, which is supposed to be done by private tutors, and our parents cannot afford. We want to say, for now, we want to support it and ensure that we can deal with it accordingly. Schools of specialization in sports, we have noted that, we'll look at it, but I must say that, or accounting and economics, I must say that in this particular province, we've got 4 schools of specialization which are specializing in economics, accounting, and hospitality. And the message which I'm getting today, Chairperson, is that we need just to increase that particular offering. FET and in this particular region is more of a DHET mandate. We are dealing with basic education, but we are taking the message, and as we engage with our DHET colleagues, we'll share that particular issue of FET, and we are also taking into account the issue of career guidance and exhibitions in schools. We know that some of these aspects are part of life orientations, but I think schools and the head office must ensure that we've got more activity around the issue of career guidance. And then Thandi Adams, your message is well noted about learners with dyslexia, and indeed those learners, even though they are classified as learners with disability, we take them seriously, and we just want to say in terms of the way some of your learners or kids were treated, even with this particular kind of differently abled learner. But the position of the department is that we are encouraging social cohesion, but we're also encouraging integration in our society. We don't want to have a learner who's got a mild disability and put her aside or in a special school to say we cannot be in a full service school. Those kind of learners with mild disability, they are okay. They need to be in a normal school, and the teachers need to be sensitive to their needs and ensure that they are integrated in our society, so that they are not just classified or pushed into Elsen schools, whereas they don't need that. But we noted your inputs, and we'll take them forward, ma'am. Infrastructure in the province is a big challenge. If our infrastructure was not a big challenge, we wouldn't have a challenge with admissions. All high pressure areas, we've got problems because we don't have sufficient capacity in a form of classrooms to can take our learners. And infrastructure comes in 4 different ways. We are not talking infrastructure only in terms of new schools. New schools indeed is a priority, and I'm proud to say that come next year, before the end of May next year, we should be launching 10 schools. Brand new schools in this particular province for the first time. Over the last 5 years, we've been lacking or failing to even deliver 1 school. But come the end of the current financial year, we're looking forward to launching 10 new schools in this particular province. Therefore, it's new schools, but it's also maintenance. There's a budget which goes to schools as part of the allocation, which is looking at maintenance. And maintenance is a proactive maintenance and a reactive maintenance, where you upfront repaint the school, not because there's a problem. And then reactive is when the window is broken or a tile is cracked. The principals and the AGB must ensure that they use that money for those 2 things. But there's also another maintenance, which is a major maintenance. That major maintenance, the AGB and the school needs to also liaise with the district and the head office, so that the head office can take responsibility for that particular major maintenance. It's our responsibility, whereas you are responsible for minor maintenance. But there's also other maintenance and infrastructure aspects like fencing, paving, etc., etc. All those aspects fall under maintenance. Maintenance is not only about brick and mortar, it's also about maintenance of the facility, which we call a school, like you are maintaining a house every year. And then the issue of the rates. Indeed, the advice which was provided by Men Notolo is well noted, and I think in hindsight, we could have done that to say, yes, we are sending the responsibility of paying rates and taxes to you as from a particular date, but she's right. Some of the schools have got historical debts. And when they go to municipality, you are owing 2 million, we need to have had maybe a cut-off point and also some kind of establishment as to what is the situation. But we've got an arrangement with the districts and head office. Any school which got an historical debt, which is heavy for them to can deal with, they need to work with the district and refer it to head office so that we engage municipality and check. In most cases, you'll find that it's wrong billing, or you are being billed like a business, or it's incorrect meter reading. Those kind of things, we work with the schools to ensure that we can assist them in dealing with them. And I also want to apologize upfront on the issue of maybe the document not being on time. We send documents on time to the committee, but the chair will handle that. And also the lack of showing the PowerPoint presentation here, because you're talking, but when you talk numbers, targets, performance, progress, you need to see it with your 2 eyes, not only listen. You need to use multiple senses to understand what the presentation is all about. And I want to apologize if our presentation somehow missed the point, given the fact that people did not have it on hand or on the screen. And I think we'll support the committee to improve going forward. I heard about issues of typex or printing paper, donations in schools, etc., etc., etc. Head office is not dictating to schools or to parents either to pay donations or to bring paper to school or to pay teachers for SEEP, whatever. We don't control those kind of things. We know that in as far as SEEP programs which are organized through head office, we pay the tutors, we provide the meals. Therefore, any other arrangement in a particular school, which is special and unique to that particular school, is an organization by the school's principal in consultation with the AGB about whether parents need to pay donations, and that will, I'm assuming that it will come to the AGB or parents meeting to agree on a donation. No head office or district can impose a donation to a school from a parent. It's a parent body in a school which needs to take that particular decision, and also whether they want to pay the teachers or they don't want to pay the teachers on a Sunday and Saturday. Indeed, we want our learners passing, but we've got provincial programs, and schools are allowed, and SGBs are allowed to have special programs on Saturdays and Sundays. As to how they fund them is their own business, and we want to have that independence of the AGB to decide on innovative ways, whether they get sponsors or they get some small donation from parents. We leave it to them, but make sure that you are sensitive to the needs of the parents. If there's a donation required from parents, and one parent have proved that I'm not working, that parent cannot be compelled to where I'm sitting to pay, given the fact that he's unemployed. Where do you expect that particular parent to get the money? But as I conclude, Chairperson, the budgets and the money should transfer to schools are in the custody of the SGB, together with the principal, to ensure that they are properly managed and utilized. And obviously there should be reports which are coming there. And if the schools are also getting additional donors like NLC, etc., those are indeed welcome. And we encourage the schools to go out of their way to get monies to support the school. And any other matter where you feel that the department is not treating you well in terms of the suspension of the powers of the AGP or the removal of the AGP, all those letters which come from me, as advised by the teams and investigators within the department, you've got the right and the power to can appeal to the MEC. And the MEC, independent from me, will look at those particular matters and ensure that he responds accordingly in terms of the way we need to deal with them. Lastly, Chairperson, I know there's also issues about security at schools. We stopped, and the burglaries are increasing, etc. The reason why we stopped, we categorize our schools. There are some schools where it's high, they are in high risk areas, and there are few. In those schools, we will provide security. But there are some schools where we provided security last year, and now the high risk level of those schools have gone down. And because of the tight budgets, we are reducing our deployment of armed security to schools. In some schools, you had 6 armed guards. We said, do you need 6 armed guards in a school during the day? Probably you need it at night, even 4, not necessarily during the day, because during the day, the patrollers are there and the learners are in school, management is in the school. There's no need indeed to have these guards, and we are trying to stretch the rent and ensure that we can cover most of the aspects we want to provide to our schools. And then other Chairperson, the issues of vendors in schools, working with the district. The district is empowered to assist vendors who are in schools in terms of the required documentation to operate and sell Zimbas and sweets in the schools districts, and the principal needs to be flexible and also compliant, because remember, these things were introduced that time when our learners were poisoned by food they were eating outside the school or buying from other vendors. And we felt that to protect the learners, you gave these learners, you put these learners in our hands. If any learner gets sick in a school during school hours in our school premises, as an accounting officer of the department, I'm responsible and liable because they are in our hands. Therefore, all these measures which were put in place in the form of regulations, policies, processes, etc., is to protect this vulnerable asset called the child. And that child is your child and is also my child. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, HOD. Comprehensive response from the department. I'm not. I am not sure if the MEC was able to reconnect online. If MEC you are there, please do indicate. Okay, it would seem that MEC was not able to reconnect. Colleagues, I think that what we must also do as a committee, in addition to what the department has responded to, is to apologize to our stakeholders that came here today. I think one of the speakers would have indicated disorganization in terms of a number of logistics that are related to today's event, and we must take full account and full responsibility and apologize for yourselves for whatever disorganization that may have happened on the side of the committee. But we do really appreciate that whenever we call out, you always come and you always speak for the learners that we have in our schools. With that being said, colleagues, I think the department has responded sufficiently. I'm going to give over to Member Ngobeni to do our vote of thanks.
No, thank you, Chair. We want to take this opportunity to thank the Chair of the session, honorable members, the department, district, staff members. More importantly, our major stakeholders for taking it upon themselves to come here and make sure that they submit inputs that are going to improve, the department or the basic education of our kids in the province. So want to encourage you that never give up what you are doing. In fact, you are assisting us to really shape the education of our kids in the province. So want to thank you for coming, and even those that I might have not recognized, want to thank everybody for coming. Please, let's keep on pushing. Let's keep the fire burning. We'll get it right. Thank you very much.
No, thank you very much, Member Ngobeni. With that being said, colleagues, those who are still here, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much until we see each other next time.